Okay. So these are the SQL codes you are supposed to check. The 100 here and 100 here is different. This is a random read, this is a read sequential. Do you want to take a screenshot of this? If you want, you can take a screenshot. We'll move on to next. Let's look at the other comments, other DML commands. The other DML commands which you are using will be using is insert and update. Okay, insert, update, and delete. So if it insert, it's going to insert. We can insert only one row at a time. So insert is, what are the SQL codes you are going to check? 0 and what is the other SQL code? Can anyone answer?
803.
Minus 803. Duplicate row. So remember, a table need not be always indexed. Primary key is not mandatory, but primary key mostly database will have primary key, provided it is a big. So if its database is very small, say 10 records, there is no point of having primary key. There is no point of having primary key. Don't assume all table by default will have primary key, but there will be a unique identifier. Unique identifier will be there, but primary key is not must. Okay, primary key is not must. And if you're going to give a secondary index, if it's primary key, you give create unique index. If it's secondary index, we give just create index. Okay, suppose if your table is small, 10 rows, we don't give for primary key. So assume I'm giving a book for 10 pages. Pawan, I'm giving a book of 10 pages. Do we need to give index for this? Is index required for 10 pages?
No need, sir.
No need. So only pages are enough, right? You can quickly go through small. So index is not required for small tables. So if in projects also, if there'll be some common tables, say branch code, it will be a small table. So branch table will not be an index table, but there'll be unique identifier. So if it's non-index table, then a duplicate row is allowed. You can insert any number of duplicate rows. If it's an index table, duplicate keys are not allowed. Update will be 0 and 0 and it's successfully updated and deleted. And if you're directly updating and deleting without selecting, then you will be getting 100 also. Okay, meaning not found. So when you want to use a DB2 in a program, you have to make sure you are going for embedded SQL. You have to prepare the DB2 program by copying the DCLgen. For every table, there will be one DCLgen, one SQL save for an entire program. Then you can start giving queries. So there are only 4 DML commands as far as which is allowed, which is select, insert, update, and delete. So if you take a select, you can have a single row or multiple row in QMF or spoofy. So singleton select will work in embedded programming. So mass select will not work. It will fail because if you write select star from table, it is going to give million. If there are million rows, it is going to bring million rows into the program simultaneously. Program doesn't know how to handle those million rows, how to store, because there is a minimum unit of IO transfer is only one record or one row. So it cannot handle more than one row at a time. So it is going to fail and give a SQL code minus 811. So insert always a singleton insert. We cannot insert more than one row at the same time. So This is ruled out. Okay, this is ruled out. It's not available at all. Singleton update can be done. How will you do singleton update or singleton delete? Again using var condition. Var condition with primary key or any unique field identifier in the table. Mass update and mass delete can be done in program. So this is embedded programming. Can be done, but these two are not allowed. So since mass select cannot be done because program cannot handle or store those many rows into the working storage section because it has only one set of host variables, and mass update and delete can be done, but we don't know how it is. I mean, it's a very risky command. We don't know which rows it has updated and how many rows it has updated. So there is no control over these two commands, mass update and mass delete. So these two are never allowed in any project. And to resolve all these two problems, we have something called cursors. Okay, DB2 cursors. So DB2 cursor is a mechanism by which, or you can say functionality, by which you can bring more than one row from one or more tables, more tables, and create a virtual table and process it sequentially top to bottom one by one. Okay, DB2 cursor is a mechanism to avoid for mass update, mass select and mass delete. We go for a DB2 cursor. Okay, mass means the primary input. This database is going to be the primary input, which you are going to do sequential processing. So it's a mechanism by which you're going to bring more than one row from one or more tables into virtual memory and create a virtual table and process it sequentially like a PS file one by one from top to bottom. Okay, so there are two types of cursors. One is readable cursor and next is updatable cursor, and we have static cursor, dynamic and scrollable cursor also, that we are not out of scope. Readable means you can do only fetch command. Okay, updatable cursor means you can update the physical table through the cursor. Okay, you can update the physical table through the cursor. This update and delete commands are different when compared to these two commands, these singleton commands. This update and delete command is a part of the cursor. Okay, we have a physical table, now we have virtual table. So we are going to, if the cursor is an updatable cursor, we can update and delete the physical table through the virtual table. So when you're changing or deleting in the virtual table, it is going to change and delete the physical table, the row in physical table directly. Okay, that's updatable cursor. When a cursor is called as updatable cursor, when it does all the not null columns of a single table without any functions, order by, group by, okay, any joins, unions, etc., it is going to be an updatable cursor. And by default, most of the cursor is a readable cursor. When you are going to use when you are having group by, order by, functions, joins, unions, subqueries, etc., it's a readable cursor where you cannot update the physical table through the virtual table. If you want to go to update the physical table, you have to write singleton update commands like this. Update table name, set column name equal to value, where in column name equal to value. Okay, you have to write the singleton update or singleton delete commands. But here this update and delete is through the cursor, where you are going to update the physical table through the virtual table. So DB2 cursor are very important and it's very easy also. If you want, you can take a screenshot. We'll move on to the next page. So if you take cursor, there are only four steps. Okay, DB2 cursor. There are only four steps. The first step is declare the cursor. Second is open the cursor. Third is fetch the cursor. Fourth is close the cursor. Commands already you are aware. You have written many programs in cursor, even many project SB also. So declaration can be done either in working storage section or procedure division. But usually it is done only in working storage section. Very rarely we are supposed to give in procedure division. For example, if a declare cursor is having a var condition and the value in that field has to be supplied during runtime, then the cursor will be declared in procedure division. Otherwise, cursor declaration will always be in working storage section. Okay, declare cursor can be given in either working storage section or procedure division. It is going to have a select query which you are going to execute and create the virtual table. You can give any query. So cursor declaration is very simple. The syntax is also simple. Declare cursor name cursor for select. You can give any query. It can you can join tables. You can have unions, etc. So, okay, this query is just declared in the declare statement. But when the virtual table is created in open cursor, when the open cursor is executed in procedure division, operating system is going to execute this select query given in declare statement and create a virtual table. For example, if we have physical table, then there will be a virtual table which will be created. And these tables will be linked. So open cursor is given in procedure division. Okay. Procedure. And it's very important command. It executes SQL query and create the virtual table and place the pointer in first row. This is like opening a PS file or opening a vsam file. When you open a PS file, what it does, it is going to open the PS file in -D. Your program is running in memory, main memory, and opens the file, place the pointer in first record. So it is going to just place the cursor. But here, the file is already present. But here, it's a virtual table which is how to be created. And open cursor does that functionality. Open cursor is going to execute query, create a virtual table, and place the pointer in first row. It just places the pointer. It doesn't retrieve the data. So when it is retrieved in fetch command, so it retrieves row into host variables. So fetch command is going to retrieve. So after a fetch first, when it retrieves a first fetch command, it is going to move the cursor to the next row. So that next fetch command is going to retrieve the next row wherever the cursor is present and pushes the cursor to third row. Then the third time when you execute the fetch command is going to read the third row and pushes the cursor to the next row. So whenever you do a read sequential or fetch, what happens? It reads wherever the cursor is present and pushes the cursor to the next available record or row, so that the next fetch command is going to read wherever the cursor is present. So this is a sequential process, and this is going to get executed till end of table is reached. Virtual table is reached. So as you are aware, end of table is given by SQL code 100. So since this command has to be written many times, we are going to execute this in a loop. So it is going to fetch wherever the row is present and move the move the pointer to the next available row. And finally, close cursor closes the cursor, and cursor closes the pointer, and then the table will be deleted once the program ends. So these are the 4 different steps of a cursor. Cursor is very easy, simple. You have to declare the cursor, open like a PS file, fetch in a loop. You have to do fetch in a loop, and then close. Finally, like how you open a PS file, read till end of file is reached. Here we are reading, fetching till end of table is reached, and finally closing the cursor. And if a cursor is an updatable cursor, after fetch you can do an update or delete. Okay, the update command and delete command is going to be a little slightly different. It's going to be update table name. So the singleton update is update table name set column name equal to value, where primary key, okay, primary key is column name equal to value. Can have as many set commands. Can just give comma, column name equal to value, etc. An update through cursor is update table name set column name equal to value. So remember, in a query, the left hand side variables are going to be a DB2 variables, right hand side variables are host variables. You have to differentiate between these two. Always the left hand side variables are DB2 column names, which is given while creating the table or in the declare statement. Right hand side variables are always host variables, and in COBOL hyphen is allowed. In DB2 underscore is given, and hyphen is not allowed. Okay, it's a reverse. So if you're going to, update a table, if the cursor is a updatable cursor, you're trying to update a cursor through the program, through the virtual table, you have to give where current of cursor name. So this is the syntax here, where column name is a singleton update. This is through cursor. Okay, but it's quite rarely used. If you want, you can use. So otherwise, any query which you're writing in SQL and QMF will work if you are writing in the program. That's embedded SQL. Okay, that is embedded SQL. Embedded SQL is nothing but whatever query you are executing there, it is going to work. It is going to do the same work. No difference. Okay, and it always the programming is nothing but in which order you are sequencing the commands. That is the challenge. Sequencing the commands is the challenge. Okay, the way we are basically initially you are going to read, open, get the system information, read something, some either file or database sequentially. Then you are going to populate the output data, make sure it is filled, and then insert or write. Okay, and the commands should be placed sequentially in such a way your logic is going to satisfy the requirement. So in a declare cursor, in addition, we can give for fetch only, and we are going to update. We are going to use update of. We are going to update columns through cursor. You are right for update of column names, which are going to update. Column name 1, column 2. Otherwise, it will not allow. It is going to fail. This is updating through cursor. And for delete, either you need not write anything or just write for update. It is going to work for delete. So these are some 3 classes which will be giving as a part of cursor, declare cursor statement. Okay, declare cursor, we give for fetch only. For fetch only is a performance criteria. It's going to improve the performance for read only cursor. If you're going to do only fetch, if you use for fetch only, it is going to a block fetch, which is going to be a more better when compared to a without giving this. Okay, so all these are, this is optional. This is for fetch only is optional. For update is also optional, but for update is mandatory if you are going to update any column name through cursor. Okay, I think, and then you used withhold, right? What is the use of withhold? It's an interview question.
It's avoid closure of the cursor.
Okay, withhold means, so generally if you're for a long running job, only for long running job, we go for periodical committing. Commit is very simple. Just give exec SQL and exec commit. So all the SQL commands should be given between exec SQL and exec. So commit is a command which is going to make the database changes permanent, meaning it is going to remove log records so that it cannot be rolled back. For long running job, we are going to do periodical committing. So if generally what commit does, commit is going to close the cursor. Commit closes cursor. Suppose you are writing commit command in as a part of your fetch. After commit is happening, commit is executed, it is going to close the cursor. So the next fetch is going to fail because the cursor is closed. So in order to open the cursor till the end of program, we write this keyword in declare cursor statement. So withhold is used to, so withhold is returned to open the to keep cursor open. So these are something about cursors. Okay, cursor is a mechanism by which we are going to retrieve a lot of data, more than one, many data into the virtual table and read one by one sequentially from top to bottom. And there are 4 steps which are part of cursor: declare, open, fetch, and close. Declare can be given either in working storage section or procedure division. The select query, the records or rows which are going to fetch for execution is given in declare. So as far as a cursor program is concerned, this is the main area. Okay, this is the main area. The select query you are going to give. Otherwise, remaining these are going to be very simple. It is common for all the programs. Only the rows you are going to fetch should be properly declared, properly selected. So I'll give one hint. Don't write the select query directly here. Execute this query in QMF rather than spoofy. In QMF, it is going to be very quick in telling what is, if the query goes wrong. Suppose if the query is incorrect, if you are writing in the program and you're compiling, there will be plenty of errors. So you cannot resolve the errors. Instead, you can write the query in the QMF and fine tune the query, make sure it is a correct query, then copy paste in the program. Program is going to give little errors. You are going to save plenty of time. Okay, here are the open cursor executes the SQL query, creates the virtual table and places pointer in first row. It doesn't fetch any data into the program, but it's going to create the virtual table. So people ask when the table is created, whether it is in declare or open. You have to say it is in open. It's a common interview question. Okay, and another common interview question is withhold option. What happens if commit is given in a cursor program? We have to say cursor will be closed. In order to keep cursor open, you have to make sure we give withhold parameter as a part of declare cursor statement, which is a binary 2 bytes binary and then text. Remember, text will be in text and length of the text will be in the length field. That is VARCHAR. So indicator, let's see indicator variables pretty quick. So null is specific to DB2. Null means no value at all. If you take a file, if there is no value, it will be spaces or zeros. But in DB2, there is no value, no storage at all. So if there is no storage, and if you're reading a null, okay, null column into the program doesn't know how to handle null values. Null is nothing but a flag which is set, 1-bit flag which is set in DB2. So in order to know whether the column is present, whether there's a value in the column or not, we have something called indicator variable. So indicator variable is S904 comp defined in working storage. There are two major values, 0 and -1. So -1 means a null is present. Okay, so there is no value for that column. And 0 means it's not null. So value is present. So you have to make sure you handle this. So for example, in a select command or a fetch command, you have to give this indicator variable immediately after the host variable. So you have to check if say for example, I'll just quickly write, say WS, okay, write project. So you haven't assigned any project right now. Project indicator pick S904 comp. So you're going to select or fetch. Assume it's a fetch. It's a cursor program. Fetch ID name project. Okay, into, say first fetch cursor name. Okay, bracket will not come. Fetch cursor name into is it fetch cursor into, right? So after this, we'll take a break for lunch. And fetch cursor name into, say, HV ID, HV name, HV project. So assume for some people, it is you're getting a project name immediately after the training. Some people didn't get. So a column can be null. So you can have a working storage variable which is defined as S904 comp. It doesn't mean only one variable can have null. Any variable potentially can have null. It depends on how it is declared. That is one. Second, if you are joining the table, there can be null. If there are no values, there will be null. So null indicator is required for all the columns which can be potentially null. So to handle this in the program, if say WS project indicator equal to -1, then there is no value. So if suppose you are moving this into a file. So since it's alphanumeric, you have to write move spaces to project name. Assume you are writing a report, move spaces to project name. Else means 0. It is going to have only 0 if it is else. Move project name. So HV project to project name. So this is how you have to handle. So null values should be handled properly like this. So after selecting or fetching, you have to make sure give null indicator declared for every variable which can be potentially null. You are going to check if it is null. You have to move spaces or zeros. If it's number, move zeros. If you're reading a table into another file, if you are moving to another table, you have to move to another table, host variable of another table. If it's a database, also move spaces based on whether it's alphanumeric or numeric. If it is not -1, then it has a value. Okay, then it has a value. If it is There are only two values. Then we can move this. In fact, there will be -2 also. -2 will never come. Okay, I'm not telling about -2. -2 will never come if you are going to use DCLGen tool for generating. Okay, -2 is truncation, which will never come. So this is used in selecting and fetching. Apart from selecting and fetching, it is also used in insert or update. So if you are going to insert a null value, you have to move -1 to the null indicator variable and then insert it to column. For example, you have to write, suppose I don't have any null project, move -1 to WS project IND, then insert into table. Okay, I'm not writing column names, directly writing values. Values HV ID, HV name. So indicator variable should be following the host variable immediately. There should not be any comma also, anything. Colon WS project indicator. So if it's, for example, if you are reading a file, inserting in a table, you can check if spaces, if project value spaces in the input file. Spaces means there is no value. So move -1. Else move project value into the and make it as 0. Move 0. So you have to set this -1 and 0 for every field you are inserting into the table. Suppose if you are having a value, you have to move zeros to project indicator and set the field value of HV project. Okay, so indicator variables are used only in select, fetch, and insert or update. Selecting or after selecting and fetching, you have to check and then take appropriate action. If it is -1, there is no value in the table. Similarly, if you're going to insert a null, make sure a column is a null. You have to move -1 and then set. And then just execute the command. It is going to set this as null. So you have to have a condition here. If values spaces or greater than spaces or zeros or not equal to 0 spaces or something like that, you have to make sure move the actual value and set the indicator to 0. Else you move -1 to the indicator and don't set the HV project. Even if you set, it's going to ignore because there is no point if you're setting this to -1. So this is the indicator variable. It's also important. If you don't handle null indicator variable, you will get a negative SQL code, which is, can you tell me what is the negative SQL code?
-305, sir.
Very good. So you're going to get -305. Okay. Okay, we'll take a break now. After the break, we'll continue DB2. So the most important part of the DB2 is the procedure, compilation procedure. And any other questions on DB2? We'll see after lunch. Anything else you learned extra apart from this and which is not revised? Or I haven't taught anything in SQL because I don't want to
It's restart logic, sir.
Restart logic, checkpoint restart logic. I already taught you, right? Last week. Stored procedures are not required. Stored procedures are nothing but more SQL statements, and it's like a program. It's a complex SQL. I'll send you a document on stored procedures if you want. It depends. See, first you make sure you learn the training properly, especially the IMS DB and COBOL programming and DB2 programming, the file system, etc. Get into project, see what is used in project, then you can increase your knowledge on that specific topic. Okay, so don't read something which is not going to be used, because in future you'll be definitely forgetting that. Unless it is used, there is no point of reading. And whatever you are going to do in projects is you're going to get appreciated based on what you are doing. So in that you have to be an expert, rather than if you are learning something else which is not going to be used in your real project, and if you are not going to perform there properly, it's of no use. So make sure you are an expert on what is required in the project, so that you are doing your work properly and going to get rewards from your seniors and managers as well as on-site personnel, so that you'll also be happy, they'll also be happy. Okay, we'll take a break now, and then we'll continue after lunch. If you want, you can take a screenshot of this, so it might be helpful for you. And after lunch, we'll see the pre-compilation procedure.